So if I have an emotion that comes in, I look at it, I recognise it, I see where it comes from, and then I get rid of it. So I get a clear energy, and the more clear your energy, the more clearer you see what is actually there. Because I think what most people do, absolutely, that's right, yes,
get rid of it.
See through the window. Because I think, you know, it's like we have this window to look out of during life, and it gets all this muck chucked on it until everything's distorted. So everybody you look at and everything you look at becomes a complete distortion. And you know, you need to wipe your window clear so you can actually see what's there.
Fabulous metaphors that you come out with. That's really, really good. Really, really good, and explains so much. And this is the thing, a lot of people have got that window splattered with mud, and they don't realise that the mud is even there. They feel that the window's meant to have mud on it. Yes. They've forgotten that we have actually got a cosmic windscreen wiper to wipe clean.
I love it.
Yeah, there we go. Going on. Indeed. I have another question here, and it's not necessarily a particularly positive question, but I thought perhaps we could address it. Okay, why are there so many charlatans and frauds in the New Age community? And how can you tell the difference between a genuine practitioner of healing or clairvoyance and a fraud who is deliberately out to mislead in order to gain recognition or money?
Something in there really briefly. How do you know that any
exactly.
banker? How do you know that any butcher? How do you know that any estate agent or solicitor or anyone else? Sorry, I had to get that one in.
You can answer that. I totally think that that's the whole crux of this question, isn't it? Because how do you know if you're looking to, you're just recently going to be moving house in a moment. How do you know your estate agent was honest with you? How they're the most unliked people in society.
My intuition,
we don't know. Sorry, it wasn't a direct question.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry, but
wherever we go, how do we know that our surgeon or our doctor or our gardener, whoever it is we're dealing with, we don't know.
And the question came in: why are there so many charlatans or frauds in the New Age community? From my own perspective, okay, maybe they're out there, but I certainly wouldn't say it's so many. From my experience, the majority of people I meet, and as I said, I don't really like the term New Age community, but that, you know, if you want to label it that, fine. The amount of people that I have met, either through the internet or in the actual face-to-face community, the percentage of people I would say are out for fame, recognition, money, or are deliberately misleading are really small. I mean,
I agree.
Maybe
and
I just
another
don't
thing,
need
what
them.
I would say to this person is actually remember we create our own reality. So where are you coming from? You know, and maybe it's just a genuine question, but in some way this has to be in your reality that you kind of maybe attracting this. So perhaps turn that around and start to set a new intention.
Just wanted to ask, how do you know that these people are charlatans?
I was just going to
where are you getting that knowledge from?
Yeah.
Maybe it's time to look inside yourself and see why you see all these charlatans. Again, it comes back to the window. What's the mud on your window that's stopping you from seeing the reality?
That's what I would say. I mean, what's the reason you think? Because, I mean, I interviewed someone recently and there was a comment that that person was bogus. Now, I know that this person is coming from absolute purity, from the heart, from a calling, from synchronicity that this person's followed for years. So, but someone else might perceive that person as a charlatan and really believe it's true. And then they might see similarities in all these other people and think they're all charlatans.
Yeah, but this comes back to the truth again, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it
Doesn't
does.
this come back? Can we keep on coming back?
Yeah,
to the truth?
we do.
And it's just
Truth time.
And again, we're all here. We're here for the contrast. We're all here to experience ourselves in that element. So whoever that is, you know, whatever we're attracting, as I say, we've got a choice. Like you say, clear it off. Choose what it is that you want to experience. Do you want to live in a world where it is full of harmony and joy and love and anything that comes up for you, you look at it on that positive? What is the positive thing in this about this person, whatever? Or not, or you can stay with the charlatans and the people that you want to fight against and disbelieve and, you know, create the disease and you know,
disharmony.
we've all got choice, but we're in the time now. This is 2012. Wakey, wakey.
Yes, exactly. And just the mere fact that that question
programme
has been asked is interesting, isn't it?
Isn't it?
Because
Good question.
It is a good question. They've all been good questions,
because
actually.
they're also saying that they're showing that their personal belief system is that it is all three-dimensional and that we're not moving into them. And yet by asking the question, they're even saying, but maybe there is a different dimension. Maybe there is a different
because
way
they're
of
saying,
looking
how
at
can
it.
you tell the difference
Yes.
between the charlatans and the
So we
genuine
should
ones?
enjoy questions.
Oh, I do. I
That's
really
good.
do. That's why I said it's a bit of a negative question, but it is really important. And I think, you know, discernment is something that obviously we're going to be sort of teaching, and it's important. And, you know, one question I often get is, how do you know that your guides are these wonderful light beings? How do you know that they're not tricking you? The way I look at it is, you are led to a point in your life where you would not go public with your knowledge if you still had any doubts that you were being led by a darker agenda, because you will have tested and questioned that guidance many a time in your personal life before you are even led to a point. And if you are going public before those questions have been asked to your guidance, then you need to perhaps be a bit careful, because, you know, I personally, I don't know about all of you, I have questioned my guidance, and there have been times when I've ignored it and done something completely the opposite.
Yes.
And I've found out that every time they are pure and correct.
So this answers that question to that person. That question, how do you know? You know because it feels right
that's
for you,
right.
because you question it, because you, what you've just said there, Magenta, all those things.
It's
That's
about,
that's it.
and I think it's about being consciously aware and awake. Because if you are asleep, which is, you know, majority of the planet is at the moment, let's face it, you know, then you are doing things in an unconscious way, and you're not aware of what is actually going on with you and why it's going on with you. But if you become consciously aware, then you are starting that questioning process, like you said, Magenta, and therefore you keep on track, because you're constantly seeing whether it feels right or it feels wrong. And if it feels wrong, then you've got to question whether you want to go down that path, because that will create pain again.
And one thing might feel right for someone and wrong for someone else.
Yeah.
And this is the whole thing about coming back to judgment. If you see someone doing something that you feel is wrong, and that they're fraudulent and they're a charlatan and they're out for this and out for that, that's fine. But we've already said that judgment might be clouded, and it might not be that person's perception, but it might be a case that perhaps you do truly believe someone's doing something that you see as wrong. Should you allow that to come into your reality? Because when you view that person as doing something wrong, you have kind of made a judgment, and then you need to look at what's right for you and think, well, I wouldn't do it that way, or I wouldn't get involved with that group or with this particular project. But that doesn't mean other people can't, because they've got their own alignment.
Yes.
We're all going to get to the top of the mountain one way or another, and there are just many paths up to the top.
I was going to say, the person might need to go through that experience to learn a lesson, because if they don't learn it, they won't get the end result, and then they reject it to say, well, that wasn't actually a very good experience, so I'm not going to do that again, hopefully. And then you've learned, haven't you? You've moved on and you've evolved.
Yes.
I sort of do the case of, let's stick, okay, there's 4 of us here, but let's stick another 14 of us in here, and there's 18 of us in this room, and we're all talking about this debate, and we're all from different walks of life, and we'll all have a different perspective, a different opinion on it, won't we? And really, it isn't about trying to change somebody else's opinion. It's saying, okay, I hear what you're saying. It's not for me. Thanks ever so much. This is mine. That's the self-empowerment that you were talking about, Ildiko.
But without judging that person and saying it's great for you, it's
Yeah.
just not for me. And when it comes down to perception, again, this has been sort of proven, if you want to see this particular study as proof. I read somewhere, I can't remember where I read this, but it was in one of the, you know, more psychological or scientific books that are modern and on sale now. When police are discussed after perhaps a car accident, for example, about witness testimony, you'll have people saying, yeah, it was a great big blue car and it was driving 60 mile an hour and it crashed into that little red car, and someone else will say, no, it was a small green car and it was doing 40 mile an hour. Now, they're not lying.
No.
These people aren't all out to con the police.
No.
they're truly believing that that's what they saw, because that's their perception or their memory.
It's their reality.
Is their reality. So that what appears to one person as a charlatan and a fraud, that person might be absolutely genuine.
Yes, that's right.
Because let's face it, I am pretty sure that some people out there, and I know some people out there believe I'm a fraud. I've actually had people write to me saying, stop what you're doing, stop making these videos. How can you sleep at night when you mislead the public?
Wow.
So I would say to that person, that's your viewpoint.
Yes.
I can't get into your body and change your viewpoint. Sometimes I've tried to by email, but it doesn't work. And it really doesn't work by email or on a YouTube forum or on Facebook. If you are going to discuss with someone something, the only way you'd have any hope really is it at least Skype, telephone or face-to-face to actually speak. Even then, if they're in a mindset. So what I would say is, if I come across as a fraud to someone, that's fine to them for their own lesson. But I, feel for me is it's an alignment, it's genuine and it's pure. And if I'm being misled, then I'll find that out and I'll be the one to fall flat on my face. But at the moment, my YouTube videos are, going quite well, and I'm going to keep uploading them. So hopefully that would be proof that it's all okay.
But it comes back to what we were saying about truth earlier, that their perception of the truth is one perception, and someone else's perception of that same truth, like the car accident, is equally true. Perhaps I personally feel, from where I'm coming from, that we all have different paths in life. We're in different places. We're on different journeys, and for someone to perceive me as a charlatan, for example, I don't really have a problem with that, because that's their perception.
Well,
no one's forcing them to come to me. I'm not forcing them. They haven't got a gun to their head.
No one has to watch these videos.
That's
this is
right.
what I say.
Absolutely.
What if you really think that they're
there's
that
an off
awful?
button
Why
there.
do you watch them?
That's right.
Go and watch something else.
Because we want to be challenged. We want to have different perspectives, even if they're not the same as ours, and that's okay. But I just say to people, whatever makes you feel good, keep doing it.
And
often
often some people do
not.
things that don't make them feel good, and they keep doing that too. Like some people, I actually asked someone who did leave a lot of negative comments, why do you watch the videos? And the answer was, it's my job to sniff you all out and prove you wrong, and let you know that what you're doing is wrong, because he feels that he's doing something helpful to others by pointing the finger. And I thought, well, okay, fair enough, but I had to block you from my channel. You have to go to somebody else. But fair enough. And that often also, I'm not targeting Christians, because I know some wonderful Christians, but some Christians do feel that they do feel it's their job to. What are you laughing at? What am I
It's just you're gonna. Oh, that's all I could think.
Why did it have to when I was on?
It is controversial though.
Yeah.
It is.
Well,
when
from
you
my
go out
personal
with this,
experience,
it is controversial.
Personal
It should
experience,
be.
Methodist parents who couldn't get their head around their 6-year-old daughter flying with angels. When I say it was to be avoided, I mean that in a very physical sense, because that was blasphemy to my father. An absolute
But that's
blasphemy.
why you came to them as a child.
Yes.
Right.
Suppress their
Yeah.
buttons
And
and
it's-
waken
It's
them
similar
up.
to me, because I was brought up as Roman Catholic, and there's no
Yeah.
way I was allowed to believe in past lives, yet I work with past life energy every single day, releasing it from people's auras.
Do your parents know that now?
My parents haven't got a problem with it, but I have been told that I'm doing the work of lower energy.
I
should put it that way.
Yeah.
But I know I'm not, so
Yeah.
that's my truth.
That's
and
your truth,
I-
and that was
yeah,
their
exactly.
truth. Yeah,
That's right. I
absolutely.
go by mine.
So,
Absolutely, and you're going to get that, because there are these, and this is why there have been so much controversy throughout history and wars and all sorts,
Especially with
because of
religion
these
and
different
things,
religious
yeah.
beliefs.
That's right.
And we have to also remember that religion has been an easy tool to manipulate, so some of that has also been
That's right.
manipulated and
Yeah.
distorted, so it's not really the fault of the person following the path.
No.
And they truly believe that they are doing the right thing, and they truly
Yes.
believe, when they come across perhaps videos like mine, they really, really believe that they are the work of lower energies.
Yes.
And like I said, it's fine,
Yeah.
fine, but
One thing I just wanted to mention is it kind of comes back to this thing where the most important thing for our minds is to be right rather than to be happy. So in a way, pain is more important than actually letting go of the self-limiting belief or self-limiting thought and being happy with it.
Yeah.
You know,
I think so many people, and I mean, I used to be one of them, didn't even really know what how to be happy. You know that.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I've had a good life. You know, up to that point.
Yeah.
But we're just so programmed, I think, to be looking at the negative side of things. And I don't think I'm alone in this at all.
No, you're not.
You know?
You're
and
not.
I think most of us, I say we have this duality for a very good reason. But when we're just doing the cycle, the loop, as you keep describing it, as you know, sort of like we do this patterning over and over again, and really, regardless, I just say, if you know, I keep on saying this, but if you're not happy and you keep doing this loop, then you've really got to be open-minded. You have got to open your mind up, and this is probably why people will look at these videos. The person that you blocked, they probably are, because that part of them is crying out. I'm not. I'm completely opposite from you two. Methodist and Roman Catholic. I had no religion upbringing at all, but I went on search of it because I knew it was something to do with God. So you know, it's ironic. We're all looking for it somewhere, aren't we?
Absolutely.
And you know, the same with our parents or whatever. It
But this is, I agree with you about looking for it, because we were all looking for happiness. I mean, we've been brought up, all of us, in a very negative, fear-based society, haven't we?
Absolutely.
Everything is fear-based. We take out insurance in case someone hurts us. We take out car insurance in case we have a crash. Everything's negative.
And we have to, by law, otherwise we can't drive
Absolutely.
our car.
Yeah.
Even if we don't want
Even
the car
if you don't want
insurance,
to.
we have to have
But we
it.
put locks on our houses, we put alarms on our doors, we carry personal alarms.
That's right.
It's
We
all
attract it.
fear-based.
And it's all sales-based as well. It
Oh,
comes
absolutely.
back to that.
And you have to look at the news. I mean, I have to mention the news because
No, I saw
I
on
just
your
think
status on
yes.
Facebook something about the news.
9 years I haven't watched the news.
Right.
Don't read it, don't watch it. That's not news for me because I cannot affect that, and therefore all I would carry is the trauma of unresolved stress. What benefit is that to me? So my news is my daily life, the things I can affect and I can change. And I find it to be a very, very empowering place to be because my head, as I mentioned on the blog, is sacred space. I don't allow anything that's not life-affirming into my mind because I know the power of thoughts.
I think a lot of people would respond to that and say, you know, you're not participating, you're not actually caring about the rest of the world.
Oh,
There's
I
all
care.
this negative
I
stuff
care
happening
a
out
lot.
there. So you get-
But
I'm just. This is
I
not
don't
me
want
personally,
to,
but I'm just saying this is what some people.
Yeah.
Some
want, and this
people would
might,
see that as you
know,
burying
Yes.
your head in the sand
Yes.
and turning a blind eye, but
Yes.
you're not at all.
I'm not at all because I deal with
Yeah.
trauma every day. People
Yeah.
who come to me for treatment, I hear the most unbelievable things and I get my hands dirty and I get in there and I sort it out. So I'm definitely not burying my head in the
Yeah.
sand. But it's
No,
the
I
things that
wasn't
can't
suggesting you were. I'm
No.
just saying
I
that
know,
some
that's
people,
what
you know,
I
this
was
is
I
a
agree,
saying.
some
It's a
people would
bit
say
like,
that, yeah.
we were talking about this as well. We were saying about wearing a watch because I haven't worn a watch for years, so it's a bit, and I don't watch the news either.
Yeah.
And I don't wear a watch, and someone said, well, why don't you wear a watch? And I said, well, actually, I didn't want to be governed by time. And what happens is you get to a point where you actually know what the time is anyway.
Yes, you do.
You
It's an
ju- you
internal
just
clock.
it's an internal clock,
Yeah.
so we're going back to that natural innate ability that
That's
we
right,
have.
yeah.
So I mean I completely resonate with the news because you can take on the trauma and stress of seeing things that
Yes.
you actually have no control
right.
over.
Absolutely.
It doesn't mean that we can't change when we do catch these things or hear about them or become aware of them. Then again we've got that choice that how are we going to respond to that,
Definitely.
and it's our responsibility.
And I do find that I will actually hear about things that I need to hear about. I mean, I heard about the shootings up in Carlisle, if you remember, I think it was last year or the year before. I had a friend who was actually a nurse up there and she was working in the department and I knew she needed help. So I phoned her and I asked her if she needed treatment over the phone for trauma. And she did, because she was absolutely devastated. One of her friends was one of those who was shot. So you see, it came to me, and I believe in synchronicity, so
It'll
I
come
know
to you.
it will come to me if I need to hear it.
One of the teachings from the 9 is not to watch the news or anything negative, especially for somebody who is extremely sensitive. And there are some people who are or have been guided into places where they have to be so very strong in their own energy in order to treat others, and you're one of them. Newly awakened people, not to bury their head in the sand or ignore the dark, but to refine that space with beauty and with positivity. They're there are those that do watch the news who are utilising that perhaps as a teaching tool. So I was like you for a long time, didn't watch the news for many years, but I have just started watching it now. But I now have got a technique where it doesn't come into my reality. I can actually watch it.
I totally resonate with that. Totally
but I can't do it with food, but I can do it with
It's the same principle, really.
Is it? Okay,
It's the same principle.
on that one.
But also, we have to remember that how much of the news, I'm sorry, I keep banging on about truth today.
Yeah, no,
but how much of the news is actually the truth?
I would say probably almost zero. I mean, is there
well,
really
it's
anything
it's
that's
real?
That's why I watch it though. So I know.
The last thing I watched was something to do with Israel, and I'm going back for several months. But the news reporter said there was nothing going on. It was very calm. He was just himself, and he said, the feeling here is of rising panic.
This is one of the reasons I watch it though, to find out what the people are feeling, so that when I do move into a work mode, because my work and your work is kind of there, whereas you're in a very different place, as, you know, and it needs to be very sacred, and you to a point as well with more energy work. But I feel also it does train your resonator. And you can look and you can hear a news report and I can think, oh, now hang on a minute, 20% of that's true, but oh dear, that's not. I also look at the news reporters and think, now you can have these light, genuine news reporters reporting all this news that's complete rubbish and they have no idea. And I also look at the hierarchical sort of structure and think, where has this come from? And sometimes what I'll see, and this has only been recent, I was like you, I didn't watch it for years. Sometimes you'll see the reason why they're reporting this story is because something massive is going on over there.
Yes.
And they don't like to try and
divert your attention.
So, I just like to watch it in action. But then I sometimes, if I feel at all it's coming in, I will turn it off. I don't want it to. I want to be of the world, but not in it when I'm watching the news.
Well, that's discerning watching, isn't it?
And if I start to be affected, I mean, anything to do with, you know, hurting children or animals, I find that really difficult and have to, you know, reevaluate the energies. But when it comes to the reporting of what is true and what the majority of people think is true, another reason why I'm watching the news is I really feel that it will not be long before some real truth starts coming through our mainstream.
Nice. Let me know when it happens.
It might not be pleasant. What we hear might not be pleasant because there's so much that's hidden, and it does need to show itself to the public. And I feel that eventually, and not too long,
sometime during this year,
yes,
I do.
Yes, 2012.
Absolutely.
I mean, this is the year for that which has been hidden has now coming up.
There will be no secrets by the end of the year.
That's right.
But it
so you're going to have a lot more clients with trauma coming to you.
Yes, that's
not that
right,
I'm manifesting that,
yes.
but unfortunately people have been living in a bubble.
Absolutely.
And when reality hits, that's going to cause issues. So that's what we're here for. They are the people that we're all here for, and the people who are watching this, because they've got the information before. So every person who watches this video, even the ones that are saying I'm switching off, this is nonsense, everyone who's been drawn into the energy of these tea time chats are getting this information before, so they will be healers for the others. Our audience are the healers and the light workers. So, sorry, did you say I'm interrupting?
No, I was just going to say that I think it might have been you said that, I might be completely wrong here, but that you'd talked to a journalist who had been told not to talk about certain things?
Yes, actually I was present, let's just say, and heard this, and this particular person wanted to allow this information out, and saying that there's obviously confirming there's been a lot of suppression in the media, and this isn't new because we're seeing it on, I mean, I've seen this lots of other places, YouTube videos and different things. So there is a lot. We know this, don't we? There's a lot of corruption, you can feel it, hiding, and and what you were saying earlier about this denser stuff, and you can really feel it. You know, the lower energies coming back to the energy thing again.
And the light are dotted within that, and one of the areas that light is the media. I mean, Jess and I did a talk recently, and I was just talking about the new media, or these light workers within media that have been for many years knowing about truth, but have kept quite silent in a sort of perceived sleeping state, if you like. And when certain things happen, which we don't even know how they're going to happen yet, when they do, these journalists and these news reporters will step into the fore.
They're all there.
And this journalist came up to me afterwards and said, "I'm one of those people that you're talking about. I can't say anything yet, and I don't know when but when I'm just waiting for something, and then I will then know when to switch. And I'm not going to give the Dark Alliance too much of a ammunition, but well, not that it's put in the form of a battle, but I am also told by the Nine that there are certain things that they can't tell me, because if it gets put into the consciousness of the human, it will then be infiltrated into darker circles. So it's not that, and a lot of people say, well, why can't the Nine come forward and tell us this and give us the answers? They have to watch the quantum reality fields as well.
Well, don't you think it's also a bit like the analogy I like to use is we're probably all mothers, yes? We all have children? Okay. So imagine a little child.
Oh no, because then you'll manifest it.
You may do. But okay, we take a little child of whatever age you want. You don't give them more information than they can handle. You don't sit them down and tell them all the facts of life and about marriage and divorce and sexual activity. You don't give them all that information. You give them the right information according to what they can take on, because we only learn from our own baseline. And so I can well understand why the Nine can't give us information that's beyond our comprehension at the moment.
And
we're
also,
fast getting there.
There are certain things that we would be able to comprehend, but if they were put into any human being's consciousness, then it then affects the quantum reality. And it is about divine timing. It will come in at the right time, and it's as I've said before, when I look at that overview, and I'm sure as a clairvoyant you'll see it, the orchestration is just amazing. It's just so perfect. The mathematics of it, the way that it's all working out. These people are doing these things, and this group of people over here, and these over here, and they're all working. They don't even know each other. They're all working in sync together. And the minute someone steps into that awareness, it's like an orchestra, and another instrument joins the orchestra and plays an even more beautiful symphony. Is that what it is?
Well, it's the harmony of the life song, and everybody's got their life song. So it's about, as I said, getting the sharps and the flats out of your harmony, because it's disharmonious then. But the whole world is singing the harmony as well, of course.
So you see what I'm saying as life retuning, but when I look at you, I can see these higher dimensional beings and light beings and extraterrestrial energies working with you, and you're in absolute communication with them.
That's lovely.
I mean, you don't even need to be consciously aware, think, oh, this is an ET and this is an angel and this is a star being, but they're there full on. Do you agree?
Absolutely. I'm always saying that to you also.
I mean, you're a channel and a clairvoyant. I mean, it's just, it happens in so many different ways, you know.
It does, absolutely, Lots of different parts.
And we channel that channeling in so many different ways.
Absolutely,
whether all of us here are doing our thing
of course,
in
because
similar
that
different ways.
The light can be spread to the maximum amount of people in all sorts of levels. Even the viewer who said, why are there so many charlatans? The fact that he's asked that question, I think is brilliant. Because he's brought the light to it.
It needs to be asked. And I just wanted to mention the scale of conscious awareness. I don't know whether you know the book Power versus Force, and it is based on kinesiology, and again coming back to the truth, what level of percentage of truth do certain, say, writers or politicians or whatever hold? But he has this scale of conscious awareness which goes from 100 up to 1,000, and it's the different ways that we perceive life. So the lower levels are anger, rage, frustration, depression, and it's the world view and the emotion that goes with it, and as you